get into the dress layers. Basically, I kind of went over this in part one, but I had like our base layer, which is basically going to be the good old, that we never showed anybody, our undergarments. You know, for us guys, it could be a t-shirt, it could be our briefs, and it could be our, you know, our socks. For our ladies, you know, bras, sports bras, whatever the case may be, panties, and the same thing. Yeah, so that's kind of that. We'll leave it at that. The next one, and now the other thing too is I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sheets across, 6 different layers. That doesn't mean that it has to be 6 layers. As you guys turn around and see when I show you my stuff, I got mine down to about 5 layers, and the reason being is some of the stuff can actually, it kind of can be put together. But the next layer, the base layer, so this is, it's basically called a base layer because it's your, you know, it's what next to your skin and your underwear and everything else. And then the next layer is also considered to be your base layer, so, you know, we'll call it base layer 2, which would be your thermal underwear. So your, as I call it, your wicking layer, as most other people do is too. And I'll get to that, and I'll show you what I mean by what a wicking layer would be. And I kind of did that in the first part, so anybody that's seen that. The next one, which I've got optional, but the insulating layer, depending on the climate, depending on where you are, where you're going, how cold it is outside, whatever the case may be, you may turn around and have your insulating layers 2 separate layers, or you may turn around and combine it into one. And honestly, that's where I get into mine, and I kind of combine these two together in my area where I'm at. But a prime example, when I was in the Arctic, I had all 6 layers. But here, being in southern New Brunswick, where I am on the east coast of Canada, I mean, the coldest we might turn around and get in the winter is, you know, minus 40 degrees. So we're looking at what it be, if I'm doing it right, guys, you know, 99? No, sorry, it's going to be less than that because we're going to be way the heck down here. I should have looked that up. Busted! Didn't get that one. But yeah, so minus 40 is about the coldest that we get around here. So I would still be comfortable in combining these two together. But anyway, to get to the point, on the diagram, what it has like a wool sweater or fleece leggings and you know, a thicker pair of wool socks or whatever the case may be. But this could also turn around and be, in my case, which I'll show you, is that you know, I don't have a lot of wool, unfortunately, but and the only reason being is that to me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I agree with everything that everybody says about wool, and I'm a firm believer in wool as well. But to me, my thing is that because of the way that I camp, and as I've said before, I always like to camp and be more prepared in my camping supplies, let's say that I have on my back, in my backpack, or whatever the case may be. So I'm worried about weight, and that's the only thing, it's weight. So for me, I don't choose to wear wool, and the reason being is that I wear like polyester, that and the polyesters that have been, I call it fleeced like the 100% polyester, but feel like fleece. And I'll show examples of that with the stuff that I have when we get to that clothing. But yeah, so that kind of covers that. The insulating layer too, if you were to turn it and wear it again, as it says in the diagram, it's got a fleece jacket, windbreaker trousers, a scarf, and your lightwear gloves. So what this is kind of covering, it's kind of getting to that aspect that you're dressing for, you know, you're at that layer where you're around the campsite, whatever the case may be, you're working, you know, you're cutting your wood for your firewood and stuff like that. So you're keeping your body active so you're not getting cold. You're not just standing still, whatever the case may be. Then it gets into our protective layers. Our first protective layer is basically that cover that we're putting on, you know, if we were starting to walk, whatever the case may be, walking from the car to our campground, doing whatever, and, you know, we got our heavy gloves, insulated pants or overalls, definitely our cap, our boots, you know, maybe a windproof shell jacket and a down jacket, something, you know, to build that layers. And once again, like I said, that can all be put together. And then the last one would be our extreme cold, which we would get into our protective layer 2, which in my case when I was in the Arctic, and just turn that because it might not be in view, which would be like your full Arctic parka, you know, Arctic pants, the whole bit. You're going to get into your face masks, goggles, you know, another pair of heavy duty mitts, as well as insulated snow boots, like, you know, military mucklucks or whatever the case may be. If those of us that have served in the military, which are, you guys know what I mean. Here in Canada especially, you know, the white mucklucks that we can put on and stuff like that, and the wool pants and everything else. So I kind of don't think I left anything out that I wanted to say, but kind of just go really quick because I don't want to make the video too long, and I'd like to turn on and try to get it all done in one step. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to stop the video real quick and going to reposition it because I have it sitting on my table in the kitchen, and I'll get it down, and then I'll get going over the clothes and the layers. Right, so right back.